Hello, fellow peasants. Today I'll be talking about Christopher Nolan being interested in making a horror film. Welcome back to my car. I'm out here on lunch break and I just figured I would talk real quick about something I saw on the news. So this isn't brand new news, but this is something that keeps resurfacing. I keep seeing this in articles. And so Christopher Nolan has expressed interest in shooting a horror film. Does that mean it's going to happen anytime soon? No, but I'm doing this video because I think Christopher Nolan would knock it out of the fucking park if he were to ever direct a horror film, because he's so picky with what he does and he has such a high bar for what he does. I think if we ever did get a Christopher Nolan horror film, it would be done very well, obviously, but it would most likely be a very intelligent horror film. It would be something that, and he stated this, like, I'm paraphrasing here, but in the article I read today, he said for him to do it, it needs to be a damn good, like, very interesting, excellent story, something that is extraordinary. He's like, and there's just not any stories like that basically he's been given so far. So he's waiting to get his hands on just the right story, just the right thing to fully go on board, because he feels that, and once again, I'm still paraphrasing, but basically what he was saying was, like, I'm waiting for the right story to come along. It's got to be different. It's got to be interesting. It's got to, be something I'm really passionate about. And he also wants to make a horror film because he feels that there's aspects to making a horror film and techniques and things like that you can use that are acceptable within the genre that aren't necessarily acceptable outside the genre. He appreciates how horror films attempt to get a visceral response from the audience. So he seems very, very interested. When would he be making a movie? Who knows? Will he ever make a horror movie? Who knows? It could never happen. But I think it's very cool that a director like him is interested in doing it, of his high of caliber. He is, in my opinion, he's one of the best directors of the last 30 to 40 years. And so for him, this late in the game, at this level of his career, willing to go, you know what, I'll make a horror film, because a lot of the directors, especially when they're Oscar nominated type people, like they're higher up on the ladder in the directing world, a lot of directors would see doing a horror film as a step down, as a demotion, as beneath them. And Christopher Nolan is someone who I think can see the positives and see the good in the horror genre. And it doesn't have to be B-rated slasher schlock. It doesn't have to be teenagers getting killed at parties and the jocks and the bimbos and just the typical slasher stuff. It doesn't have to be low budget. It doesn't have to be low brow. Like, obviously, I mean, The Exorcist, The Shining, The Omen. I'm not a big fan of these movies, but Hereditary, The Conjuring. I mean, name any other, well-executed, smart, intelligent horror films. Like, Yes, are 95% of horror films not good, cheap, not very intelligent? Yeah. But there are the diamonds in the rough that are. And I think Christopher Nolan, if he got his hands on the right material, or even wrote his own material, wrote his own story, he could do that too. I think it would be awesome. I think it would definitely be something to look forward to. And if Nolan gets his hands, if someone as esteemed in the industry as Christopher Nolan puts out a horror film, and not only does it do good, I think just him showing interest opens the gate for other directors at his level to also go, oh, well, if Nolan's interested, maybe I'll look at that too. And then if he takes the job, he decides to do it, that gets the horror genre more attention. And then if the film is a smashing success, and it's something that is a cultural phenomenon because, one, the name of Christopher Nolan's attached to it. Two, it would just be if it's a damn good film, that can majorly boost not only the respect for the horror genre, which is a lot better now than it used to be. For decades, it was known as exploitation, freak, weirdo shit. But it would also, so it would boost the respect of the genre, and it would also boost Hollywood's interest in making more intelligent, highbrow horror. And that not everything needs to be mindless slasher fun. Not that there's anything wrong with slashers. I love slasher movies. But I think that this day and age, that can get old quick. And I think people are looking for a little bit more in their storytelling than guy with a knife running around killing high schoolers. So, yeah, super interested in this. I like to see where it goes. I saw an article on this maybe like a few months ago, and I didn't think much about it. And then I ran into a more recent article just this morning, and I was like, oh, like this is the second article on this. So I was like, okay, this is gaining some traction. Like, what? I mean, not real traction because nothing's been greenlit or anything like that, but it's getting out there. He's putting his word out there. He's putting the feels out there. He's saying he's interested. Basically, when he's saying this, that perks up the ears of writers, horror script writers, horror writers, and they're like, oh, Nolan's interested? Well, I've got this thing laying around that I haven't used yet that Nolan might want. That's the way I see it. I see him like, it could just be him saying, look, I'm interested. But it could also be him saying, I'm interested, and I'm saying I'm interested because I'm putting it out there in case you guys want to send me some shit to make. You know what I mean? Like, send the stories in, send me some scripts. I'm down to do this. So it's like an open invitation kind of thing. But that's it. Let me know down in the comments below what you think about Christopher Nolan being interested in making a horror film. I don't think it's too far off. He's already done Inception. He's done Insomnia. I mean, those aren't horror films, but they're darker films. They're thrillers. They're very intellectual films. They have horror elements to them. So yeah, that's about it, guys. Have a good one. Not Insomnia. Wait, he didn't do Insomnia, did he? No, he did. I'm thinking of Memento. I don't think he did Insomnia. He might have done Insomnia. Anyway, let me know what you think down in the comments below about Christopher Nolan wanting to make a horror film. All right, guys. Peace out, peasants. Bye-bye.